what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2008 Honda Civic Si sedan. Up front is a 2.4 liter inline 4 and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Civic Si because it has had a K24 swapped into it. Normally these cars come with the K20, which is a 2 liter inline 4 and it makes about 200 horsepower. However, this has a larger engine from Honda swapped into it. So that is going to be the main talking point of this video. We'll touch on some other things like this sweet Red Bull livery, but the K series will be the star today. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that K24. So this is actually out of a JDM Acura, and as far as engine swaps go, it's not super difficult. The K24 is taller than the K20 because they have increased the bore and stroke, and so you do need to change like an engine mount. This one has one from a 2012 Honda CR-V. However, some people do make Frankenstein engines that are K20 heads with the K24 block. So why would you swap in a K24? What are the big benefits? Well, with that larger displacement, you get more torque. Now, with that more torque, you normally would get a lower red line. That's sort of the shortcoming of the K24 when swapping from the K20. However, the owner, Josh, actually put a smaller cam gear on this to allow it to rev more and retain that 9,000 RPM red line. Another downside of the engine is the vibrations. The vibrations in here are greater than Marky Mark could have ever dreamed of. And that is due, in fact, to the bigger engine, but also the fact that it mounts a little bit higher up with that extra engine mount, and so it's just a little bit off with this vehicle. But that is a drop in the pond when it comes to the benefits of the K24. Now this does have a lighter flywheel, a 12-pound flywheel, but driving it around town is absolutely awesome. You get that low-end torque that the K20 is really truly missing, and yet with that smaller cam gear, you still have the top end as well. VTEC is also tuned to kick in around 4,500 to 5,000 RPM, and then you really let it sing all the way up to 9,000 RPM. It really truly is the best of both worlds. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, this is the stock SI transmission. However, it has been rebuilt, and in 2009, they actually switched to carbon fiber synchros. So that has those added into this transmission just to help with some longevity's sake. Sometimes these 2008s have second and third gear issues. Well, this has been rebuilt, so those issues are now gone. Last but not least, of course, the Civic Si is still front-wheel drive, and it does retain the factory limited slip differential. How does it feel to drive a K24 Civic Si? It is, in a phrase, everything I wanted it to be. I think, personally, I will struggle going back to a K20 after driving one of these. It doesn't feel like a different beast. It doesn't feel like the owner, Josh, has changed this car into something it was never intended to be. It just feels better. It feels more. It feels extra. It feels like a heightened sense of itself rather than a completely new automobile. And I've driven engine swap cars that completely change the dynamics of the vehicle, but not this. This stays true to what Honda wanted. It just gives you more of what you want and less of what you don't, and that is a beautiful thing. We'll now speed run the interior because I've reviewed many SIs from this generation before, but up way in front of me, we do have the speedometer, fuel and coolant temperature sort of tucked away from the driver. Down below, we have a secondary tachometer as well as our trip odometer and things like that. On the steering wheel, we do have a carbon fiber steering wheel, which is aftermarket. We have channel, volume, and mode to the left, cruise control off to the right. We do have a climate vent off to the left as well, our gauge dimmer switch and miles per hour / select and reset, fog lights and VSA off. And moving on to the door, we have our power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we have the standard Honda radio, nothing really to note there. Standard climate controls, single zone climate, fan speed, where to send it, things like that. Some cubby spaces down below, and the shifter, like I said, the shifter has been rebuilt, and it does have a short throw shifter on it as well. I really like the feeling of that, look of that. Tiny little handbrake off to the left, and we have cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the K24 Civic Si, and I am happy to say that it does in fact pass. Little center console and the seats have been swapped out with Brahms seats. I like them. I'm a big guy and I actually fit in them, so I am praising the Lord for that today. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats and a trunk, so let's go do a back seat and trunk review. It's fine. It's fine. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and obviously the first thing you'll notice is the fact that this does have a Red Bull Racing livery on it. So cool, especially being a Formula One fan. I love seeing this. If I could add the Max Verstappen song into the video without getting a copyright strike, I would. However, I can't, so I won't. I think this blue paint is really, really good. However, according to the owner, something I recently learned is that Honda actually had a recall for their paint. However, that recall ended in 2015, and the owner bought this car in 2016. And so unfortunately, that recall was never done. However, with all of this being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the K24 Civic Si? I think it looks really good. Obviously, it drives really good. And it just overall is a better car than a regular Civic Si. I fully understand the appeal now as to why someone would do this to their Civic Si. It's just better. It's better in almost every sense of the word. If you can figure out the vibration issues, then you will have the perfect Civic Si because it's going to be reliable. You're not depending on a turbo to make crazy horsepower numbers. On the dyno, this car made 250. That is more than a healthy number on stock parts. You're not going to be chasing boost leaks. You're not going to be trying to figure out intercooler piping. It just works straightforward. It's also a 2008. This isn't a K24 swapped EG where you might not have air conditioning. You might not have power windows. You might not have the LSD or anything like that. You have those creature comforts and the power. And so, of course, nothing in this world is truly perfect. But gosh darn it, if this car isn't rocketing towards it at 9,000 RPM, then I don't know what else would be. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Josh for letting me take out his Honda Civic Si with the K24. Josh was absolutely awesome to work with. He was able to meet up with me in Chicago, even though he is not from here. And that is simply wonderful. Very knowledgeable about the swap, very down-to-earth and kind person, and I appreciate him very, very much. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.